Daily Devotion with Pastor Balla for September 12th, 2024, from the book of Colossians, Honoring Parents as Worship to God. Now, previously we heard about God's call to husbands to love their wives as Christ loves the church. Paul's instruction to avoid harshness means husbands are to cherish their wives with gentleness, seeking their spiritual and emotional well-being, just as Christ is patient, forgiving, and humble. Husbands are invited to mirror this love in their marriage, choosing words and actions that build up rather than wound. As husbands receive Christ's forgiveness and love, they are empowered to treasure their wives, making marriage a reflection of Christ's enduring love. So let's continue with the book of Colossians. From Colossians chapter 3, verse 20. Children, obey your parents in everything, for this pleases the Lord. In this simple verse, Paul speaks directly to children, highlighting a fundamental aspect of Christian life that echoes through generations. Honoring our parents is not merely about human respect, but an act of worship. The command goes beyond our immediate family and reflects our relationship with God Himself. When we obey our parents, we reflect submission to God's authority and His design for family and order in life. Paul's instruction is rooted in the fourth commandment: honor your father and your mother. As Luther explains in his small catechism, this commandment is not given only to young children, but remains a call for all of us throughout life to honor those in authority whom God has placed over us. To obey our parents in everything does not mean blind obedience or disregarding our conscience, but is about honoring them in a spirit that reflects our honor to God. It reminds us that God is pleased when we obey with a willing heart, not out of mere duty, but as a reflection of our love for Him. As believers, we recognize that sin complicates family relationships, and that our human weaknesses can make obedience challenging. We may be tempted to resist our parents' instructions, especially when we feel misunderstood or when critical values conflict with their guidance. However, through Christ, we find the strength to live out our calling in the family. Jesus Himself demonstrated obedience, humbling Himself to fulfill the will of His Father, even to the point of death on the cross. In His obedience, we see the ultimate act of love and honor toward the Father, setting a model for our own lives. So the heart of this passage is not simply about keeping family order, but about reflecting God's love in our relationships. In honoring our parents, we bear witness to the world of God's goodness and His order. We do not obey for human approval, but because it pleases God. When we struggle to honor our parents, we can turn to Christ, who understands our weaknesses and helps us in them, giving us His Spirit to enable us to live in love and humility. So honoring our parents, then, becomes part of this worship. Through this obedience, we display a glimpse of God's kingdom, where respect, humility, and love flow from His Spirit in us. In this way, we are shaped by His Word and Spirit, molded in His likeness, reflecting His grace to those around us, even within our own families. God's peace and many blessings be with you. And thank you for listening. And please take an opportunity to share this message with others. If you have enjoyed these daily devotions, please consider making a donation to Peace Lutheran Church, 24024 West Main Street, Plainfield, Illinois, 60544. Thank you again for listening.